Hi, you're welcome to today's session on Celpip writing process. So I told you in the previous video that with Celpip writing process, we have two tasks. That is one, writing of email, and then the second one is writing or responding to a survey question. Responding to a survey question. But I want us to watch a very short video on task one, that is writing an email. And I hope that at the end of this video, it will be very beneficial to you. If you like this video at the end of it, you just have to subscribe and then share for your friends to join. So let's stay tuned and enjoy this short video on task one, writing process on how to write an email during the Celpip test.
We discussed 4 key steps in the writing process: brainstorming, making an outline, writing, and checking your work. In this video, we are going to demonstrate how these 4 steps can be applied to task 1 of the writing test. In task 1, you will be presented with a situation and a series of instructions explaining what you should include in an email. Let's take a look at an example. Notice that there are 3 main instructions in this example. The number of instructions can vary in task 1, but there will generally be 3 to 4 of them. Before I start writing, I'm going to make some notes. On the official test, you will have note paper that you can use. Now, since there are 3 parts to the instructions here, I'm going to divide my page into 3 parts and number them like this. To get started, I'm going to write down any ideas that I have, good or bad. I'll spend 2 or 3 minutes on this. This is the brainstorming part. It's okay if you can't think of anything right away for a particular part. You can always come back to it. So let's see. Number 1. Say what time the meeting is and what the meeting is about. I'll just say 3 p.m. Any time would be fine. What's the meeting about? I'll have to think about that. I'll come back to it later. Number 2. Say sorry for not going to the meeting and why you cannot attend. Okay, I'll say I'm really sorry. Why I cannot attend. I'm sick, but in what way? Headache? Stomachache? Considering that the meeting is tomorrow, neither of these will work. I could easily recover from both by tomorrow. Stomach flu? Sounds better. Food poisoning? That sounds too serious. Who knows when I will be back at work. Okay, anyway, I've got some ideas down. Number 3, ask to change the meeting day and suggest a time. This one seems pretty easy. I'll say Friday at 3. Okay, back to number 1. Say what the meeting is about. I really have no idea. I'm just going to write whatever comes into my mind. Meeting. You know, when I think of a meeting, I think of a long table and big chairs and lots of people in suits. Okay, what if the meeting was about chairs and tables or desks and new employees or something, like where they will sit? Maybe something about a seating chart and buying new desks? Okay, that sounds like something people have meetings about. Maybe I'll just add one more detail about what my contribution to the meeting is supposed to be. I'll say I have some information about the total number of new hires based on reports from other bosses, or department heads sounds better. It's a more precise and detailed way of describing them that will show the raters the range of my vocabulary. Okay, I've got some ideas for each part. I've finished brainstorming, and now I'm going to work on making an outline. Looking at number 1, I'll say the meeting was scheduled for 3 p.m. and it's about a seating chart for new employees, as well as buying new desks. I'll also mention the report about numbers of new hires from the department heads. In number 2, I'll say I'm really sorry, and I'll go with stomach flu to explain why I can't attend the meeting. For number 3, well, I've got the new meeting time, so I'm all set. Now I've got 3 sections here, so I will probably want to write 3 main paragraphs in my response. It may not always work out so neatly, but in general, it can be a useful strategy to build your outline around the instructions, and then write one paragraph for each of the main instructions. Now, when I look at my outline, I see that I don't really have enough to say to write a whole paragraph for number 3. Maybe I could add some details, like why I'm asking to postpone until Friday. I'll mention that I need time to recover from my stomach flu and that I have some things I want to discuss at the meeting. Whenever you can, you should add supporting details to develop your main ideas. Okay, now I've got a pretty solid outline. I know what the important points are for each of my 3 main paragraphs, and I'm ready to get started on the actual writing of my email. In writing task 1, you are writing an email to someone, so you're going to need a greeting. In this case, I'm writing to my boss. I'll come up with a first name. I'll call my boss Dan. In Canada, it's normal to use people's first names, even if they are your boss. I don't need anything too complicated as a greeting. Hi Dan, is fine. Because I'm writing to my boss, who knows me well and who's probably pretty busy, I'm going to get right to the point. Now, if I was writing to someone I didn't know, I would probably include a line introducing myself. Or if I was writing to a friend I hadn't heard from in a while, I might write, "How have you been? It's been a while." It would be natural to include an opening line in those situations, but here it would be best to just jump in and explain the situation to my boss. So here's my first paragraph. Okay, this seems a little wordy, but I'll leave it for now. I'll come back and check it after I've done a first draft. Here's my second paragraph. This one is a lot shorter, but it's still an okay paragraph. It's got the minimum 3 sentences. The first sentence clearly states the topic. The second sentence explains why I am sorry. The last sentence explains why I can't make it. Something bothers me about the last sentence, though. It doesn't seem well connected to the second sentence. I've stated that the meeting is important, and then I've stated that I'm too sick to go. I think I need to add a transitional word here, such as however. Okay, here's my last paragraph. This isn't bad. I've started with a strong topic sentence that happens to be a question here. All the other sentences provide details that support the first one. The tone of that first sentence is a bit off, though. I'd like to make it sound a bit more polite, since I feel pretty bad about missing the meeting. I'll add the phrase, if at all possible, here. I also think I need to add a transition between the second and third sentence and change this into one longer sentence. It'll more clearly show the relationship between the ideas in those 2 sentences. This will also show the raters that I have good control over sentence structure. Okay, I'm almost done. I think I'll just add a closing statement, something that will reinforce how sorry I am. That will really help with the tone of my message. And I'll also add my name. All right, so that's it for the third step of the writing process, writing my message. The last thing I will do is spend 2 to 3 minutes checking over my work to see if I have made any small errors or if there's something that I can do to improve my response. Now I see that my total word count is 208. The instructions say I should write about 150 to 200 words, so that's okay, just a little over. Nevertheless, as I read over my work, I should check to make sure I haven't repeated myself or included information that isn't related to the topic. When I look at my first paragraph, I do see a part where I have repeated the same idea. This sentence here. It's basically just repeating what I said in the sentence before. I'm going to delete it. Oh, and I see I've repeated the word report in the last sentence. I want to show the raters the range of my vocabulary, so I'm going to change this second one to figures, which is another word for numbers. My second paragraph looks okay. Oh, except that I now see that I left out a word here. When I look at my third paragraph, I see that I have used the phrase attend a meeting twice, once here and once in the second paragraph. I'm going to change this one so that the raters know the range of my vocabulary. Okay, I have now completed all 4 steps of the writing process. Here's my completed response in its entirety.
Okay, so looking at this as the writing task 1, that is writing an email, one thing that I want you to take note is that when you're writing to someone formal, it is just similar like writing a formal letter. But with this email, there isn't any address. So you just start with greetings, that is hi or hello. You address the person. If the person is someone that you know, that is a relative, you can begin by letting us know the relationship between you and that person. Okay. Or if the person is someone that you don't know, which is a formal letter, you just move or you go straight to the point. So 1, you should greet. 2, there should be an introduction of yourself. You can just introduce yourself based on the question that you are given. You can just introduce yourself and then you go straight to the point. That should come in the first paragraph. That should come in the first paragraph. That should come in the first paragraph. So when you are paragraphing, it is either you leave spaces between the paragraphs, or you shift the first word to create a space just before you start. You do same for the second one. But I think in my own view, in my opinion, this is a right way of paragraphing. Just leave spaces between 1 and 2 paragraphs, and then you are good to go. So with this, one thing I want you to take note is that try as much as possible to write 4 paragraphs, to be in 4 paragraphs. So with 4 paragraphs, you have first paragraph, the second one, the third one, and then the last one. Okay, so with the 4 paragraphs that you should be writing within, try as much as possible that the 4 paragraphs contains 10 sentences. Again, it should contain 10 sentences. So when you want to count the sentences that was involved in this writing of the email, let's count. So from here to here is 1, from this to employees 2, from we to everyone, that is 3, from I to heads, that is 4, from I to meeting, that is 5, from I to possible, that is 6, from however to tomorrow, that is 7, from if to 3 p.m., that is 8, from there to chart, that is 9, that is 8, sorry, that is 8. Then from I to discussion, that is 9. Then I to flu, that is 10. So be as much as possible to write between 10 sentences. If it is 11, it is okay. If it is 11, it is okay. But try as much as possible to write 4 paragraphs. 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph should be the reason why you're writing the email and maybe some introduction about yourself. Then the other paragraphs should be the 3 main points that you were given to write the email about. Then you conclude. After your conclusion, you should sign off. You should sign off. As we sign off for formal and informal letters, you can do same. So you can write best regards or yours faithfully, yours sincerely. You just sign off and then you write your name. Sign off, then you write your name. So basically, this should be one of the best tasks in writing that you should be getting higher marks.